At this time, we would like to recognize anyone who is with us today that worked on the design, worked on the permitting, worked on the original construction of the original two-lane Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel from 1960 to 1964. Please stand if you were with us. We thank you for your collective investment. Unfortunately, as well, we can't celebrate today without acknowledging the 7 deaths that occurred on the original construction. We continue to keep the families of those who did, in fact, lose their lives building this world-class 7th engineering wonder of the modern world, and we're very thankful for their contributions in that regard, and as well, the many people who have also lost their lives on this facility with fatalities over the years. So to describe what happened after we opened, we're thankful that we have Senator Frank Wagner with us today. He was elected to the state Senate during a special election in December of 2000. He currently represents the 7th Senatorial District in Virginia Beach, having won re-election in 2003, 2007, and 2011. Prior to his election to the state Senate, Frank served in the House of Delegates for over a decade. Perhaps he's best known for his visionary energy plan, and more recently has become a key figure when it comes to transportation compromise legislation, especially so during the 2013 General Assembly session. Frank's tireless efforts in finding compromise and working together with other legislators, Finance Committee and Legislative Services made it possible for the first major transportation plan to pass the legislature since 1986. Frank is a 1977 graduate of the U.S. Naval Academy. He received his Bachelor of Science in Ocean Engineering. He served in the United States Navy as a diving and an engineering officer. After his service in the Navy, Frank went into business with his father and started a ship repair firm, Earl Industries. Today, he's the president of Davis Boat Works, one of Virginia's premier small boat repair firms located in Newport News, Virginia. Senator Wagner, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, Jeff. And as others, I have prepared script with one of the stories, and it's always fun to follow Ralph. When they sang the national anthem, I made sure, Ralph, are you sure you know where the flag is? You know, and Ralph had a little trouble locating it, but he managed to find it and move forward. And again, Jeff, thank you for the invitation, and for all the members of the board and all of those that work and all the employees that keep this great operation running and running smoothly. I've been tasked with the 1964 to 1970 bridge happenings over that period of time. And again, I will, like the others, go off script. But in 1964, I was, when the bridge opened, I was 8 years old. I was in a place called Woodmont Elementary School in Arlington, Virginia. I can remember when the bridge opened, we used to get our little newspapers called the Weekly Reader that you used to get, and I can remember going through that and thumbing through, and it was the big front page article, how the engineering miracle of the world had actually been finished and was open, and cars could travel through it, and the Eastern Shore was connected with the rest of Virginia, and it was fascinating reading. And I hadn't had the opportunity to travel on it, but I do remember that. At the time, Virginia, and I can remember this in 3rd grade, had 4 million people. 4 million residents here. Now we have 8 million, and the bridge has been expanded, I believe, to accommodate that and to accommodate the activity. They've asked me to throw in a few other facts. The Ford Mustang had just come out. The Verrazano Narrows Bridge had opened, and the Beatles had made their first appearance on Ed Sullivan. So those are all the facts those on the commission thought I really ought to relay to everybody here that was so important. The governor has already covered the statistics that's in my page here about the length of the bridge and all of those things. So rather than repeat exactly what he said, one of the interesting facts that I was provided, and I found this very, very interesting, was apparently during the 60s it was also a favorite place to run your ship into. In 1966, the Churchill County, which was a Navy LST, tank landing ship, struck and damaged 5 piles. This is a testament to the engineering and construction bridge was inspected for 1 hour, found to be fully operational, was opened up to traffic again after a collision of that magnitude. Again, in 1967, apparently the navigators hadn't quite figured out where the bridge was. The Nilo, a 3,000-ton barge, broke loose and struck and damaged 44 piles and girders, and the facility was closed for 2 hours for inspection prior to reopening, which is, again, a testament to the engineers that designed it and built it. And again, in 1967, the Mohawk tried it and drug anchor and knocked out one 75-foot span out of line and damaged 9 girders. The facility was closed 14 days because it did knock out a lane, but again, it was wide open again, easily repairable. Not to be outdone, the Navy tried it one more time in 1970. The Yancey, a Navy amphibious cargo ship, drug anchor during high winds and completely destroyed 4 75-foot spans and destroyed the superstructure of 3 additional 75-foot spans. And I note here the then Delegate J. Clyde Morris, Executive Director J. Clyde Morris called then Delegate George McGath and said, "George, they broke your bridge." And George got on the governor, and I think this is a testament. When you consider 3 entire spans were wiped out, 42 days later, the bridge tunnel reopened. And I think that's a true testament to the design engineers of the time and the amount of magnitude of what went in, the over-design we like to think. I think as they looked at it, they knew the environment it would be in. You're basically got a bridge in the ocean. It's subject to hurricanes, nor'easters, high tides, all of those things. It's obviously subject to ship collisions. It's a favorite place to run, but it's become its own attraction. For everybody in Virginia Beach, when they come out fishing, they're right out here by the bridge tunnel fishing. It has become its own attraction in and of its right. And for that, I think we need to look back and thank your dad, Lucius, for all that hard work. And I want to leave you with one parting thought also. It took a lot of guts from a lot of people to have a vision and actually make that vision come true. It took a lot of risk. It took a risk on politicians' parts. It took risk on a lot of folks, on the financing authorities, to build a dream, to make it happen. This is infrastructure that today we take for granted. We take for granted it had. Those are something our parents did for us on our behalf, and we take it for granted. Don't lose sight of that, because we need to be building these types of things for our kids today. We need to be putting the infrastructure in and make the bold decisions and do the necessary things that we have to do so that they can have facilities like this and infrastructure like this that they'll need to continue to move the economy forward when Virginia isn't 8 million people anymore, but 10 or 12 million people. So I hope that all of us don't lose sight of that responsibility that I believe we have and for our children, to make sure that these types of facilities and these types of things that keep our economy running and allow our economy to grow continue to happen. So thank you all very, very much.
Thank you, Senator Wagner. And one thing that we'll footnote, only because we have our insurance underwriters with us today. In 1976, the Coast Guard registrar was changed so that all vessels had to moor 3,000 feet off of the facility. That was not the case with the accidents that Senator Wagner alluded to. So we're in excellent shape today, and you all are covering an excellent risk here. Also want to allude and follow up on Senator Wagner's comments. We've talked about the retirees of the ferry system. We've talked about the retirees of the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel District. One of the things that keep the wheels in motion with the operations, the maintenance, the finance here at the facility are the employees today, and we're fortunate to have a good amount of employees in the room. If you would please stand to be recognized as well. We thank you for the great job that you all do.